This steel box looks like nothing special, but its corners hold a piece of engineering so precise it quietly reshaped the entire global economy. Before standardized containers existed, loading a cargo ship meant hand-loading individual sacks, barrels, and crates into its hold. This process was called break bulk shipping, and it was brutally slow, labor-intensive, and prone to damage and theft. Ships sometimes spent more time sitting in port being loaded and unloaded than they actually spent at sea. Every port, every country, every shipping line used different box sizes, if they used boxes at all. There was no way to move cargo smoothly from a ship to a truck to a train. In 1951, a trucking entrepreneur named McLean got frustrated watching his trucks sit idle for hours at the docks. He wasn't a shipbuilder, he was a truck driver who saw an obvious problem nobody else had bothered to fix. His idea was almost absurdly simple. What if the box itself never had to be opened at all? That single question would end up rewriting the entire logic of global trade. But an idea alone wasn't enough. It needed a shared, worldwide standard to actually work. McLean's idea only worked at scale if every port, ship, truck, and train in the world used compatible boxes. So starting in 1961, the International Organization for Standardization began publishing official container specification. Those standards locked in the now familiar shapes: 20-foot and 40-foot lengths, 8 feet wide, 8.5 feet tall. Today, roughly 90% of all shipping containers in the world still use one of those two standard lengths. That single decision meant a container loaded in Shanghai could be lifted directly onto a truck in Rotterdam, without a single item inside ever being touched, unpacked, or repacked along the way. It became cheaper to manufacture products on one side of the planet and ship them to the other than to simply make them locally, closer to where they'd actually be sold. That shift alone helped turn entire countries into manufacturing superpowers, almost overnight. But standardizing the outer shape was only half the problem still left to solve. The real engineering challenge was how you make one of these boxes safely stack 10 units high at sea. The answer is a tiny, deceptively simple piece of hardware called a corner casting. Every standard shipping container has 8 of them, one at each of its 8 corners, top and bottom. A corner casting has no moving parts at all, just a few precisely shaped oval holes in solid steel. Those dimensions are locked in by an international standard, meaning any manufacturer's casting fits any other perfectly. The device that actually locks 2 containers together is called a twist lock. A steel connector with a rotating head on each end, built for exactly one job. A twist lock's head slides into a corner casting's oval hole, then rotates 90 degrees. Wedging itself against the inside of the casting, mechanically binding two multi-ton steel boxes together. A single manual twist lock can withstand up to 2,000 kilonewtons of compression force. That's enough force to anchor a stack of containers through a violent storm at sea. Locking mechanism aside, the box itself still has to survive years of salt water, sun, and abuse. That's why containers are typically built from a special corrugated steel alloy, often called core 10 steel, engineered to form a stable, rust-colored protective layer instead of continuously corroding away underneath. Since 1972, an international treaty has set minimum construction and testing standards for every shipping container, backed by mandatory periodic inspections for every single container used in global shipping. Historically, stacking these containers was dangerous, physically demanding work, done almost entirely by hand. A longshoreman would manually lock one end of a twist lock high above the deck, then guide the next multi-ton container down by hand into precise alignment by feel. Modern terminals increasingly use automatic twist locks that snap into place the instant a container lands, removing workers from that dangerous gap between two massive, stacked steel boxes. And the sheer scale this system now operates at is genuinely staggering. Some of the largest container ships afloat today can carry more than 18,000 containers in one voyage. For a system moving an estimated $4 trillion in goods every year, this engineering works remarkably well. But it isn't perfect. According to the World Shipping Council, containers do occasionally end up lost at sea. An estimated 1,478 containers were lost in 2025 alone, out of roughly 280 million shipped. That's a tiny fraction of the total, about 0.0005%. But it was more than double the number lost the year before, in 2024. A single major vessel incident accounted for roughly 640 of those lost containers, all by itself. Nearly half of the entire year's total losses from just one incident alone. The leading causes are exactly what you'd expect: severe weather and fires from mislabeled dangerous cargo. Notably, 128 containers were actually recovered in 2025, the highest number ever recorded. For most of the industry's history, reporting a lost container at sea was entirely voluntary. Shipping companies could, and often did, quietly absorb the loss without telling anyone at all. That changed on January 1st, 2026, under new international reporting rule. Any container lost overboard or even spotted drifting at sea must now be formally reported without delay. It's a small rule change, but it turns decades of quiet self-reporting into genuine international record. So the next time you see one of these boxes roll past, remember, a $4 trillion system circles the planet, held up by 1/4 turn of hardened steel.